Hey guys, today I'm going to talk to you about how I use tender platforms like EstimateOne and BCI to generate some warm leads. Now, firstly, I'll start off by saying uh, when I first started the job that I'm in now currently, I had no experience in construction industry whatsoever. So for me to generate leads, the way I would try and do that is just by going to different construction sites and to different projects, trying to make my way through to the site office, and then introduce myself to anyone who listens, and introduce our product and sort of a little bit about what we do and how we can help them. Now, this is a great way to go about things. Don't get me wrong, it is always good to go and introduce yourself in the flesh, but there are other strategies that you can implement that sort of complement that as well. Now, one of them is using tender platforms like EstimateOne and BCI. So when I'm using EstimateOne and BCI, I'm not using it to actually submit a tender for a job. I'm using it to scope out large construction projects, reach out to the main builder on there, from there try and get onto the project manager, and then from there try and get the details of the electrical, mechanical, plumbing and fire contractors on that. Now, there's a lot of steps that you need to follow to actually get there, but once you do get there, and you've introduced yourself to the contractors, it's a great way, it's a great foundation for you to actually start a relationship with them and work with them on future projects. For the company I'm in right now, our focus is seismic restraint of services. So that is essentially preparing the services within a building to withstand the forces of an earthquake, to stop it from shaking too much and damaging other services around and falling down and potentially injuring people. But in saying that, I think this would go for this advice will suit anybody that is looking for work in the construction industry. Why tender platforms matter for lead gen. Instead of just randomly cold calling people or rocking up to random job sites and asking them about what they're working on, tender platforms are a great way to have actual information about a project. Now, if you are offering a service that is backed by some sort of, or enforced by some sort of standard or code or something like that, even better. Because you can use the keyword finder within EstimateOne or these other tender platforms to only pull up projects that specifically mention that requirement. Now, I do that for seismic restraint because in Australia, there is actually a standard that sort of enforces that requirement. So yeah, I sort of use that as a foot in the door to get the details of contractors. Now, if you have the right keywords and you can find projects based on those keywords, that's even better because you can actually screenshot those keywords and you can actually send it on to your contact. For example, I have the Australian standard as one of my keywords. So when I reach out to the project manager or electrical contractors, I say, this standard is mentioned in the documents, and it's actually specified as a requirement on this project. We're a company that can provide that service. So immediately, I actually have that standard as something to back me up to say, there's a standard enforcing this. We can provide a service that will help you meet those requirements of that standard. So either way, even if they don't go with us or, they don't end up engaging me, they will need to engage somebody to do that. Setting up your watch list. In order to find the right projects, depending on what the services that you're actually offering, you need to have the correct watch list on there. So that means you want to be able to keep your eye on the right projects. So, for example, you might only want to target projects that have a budget of over $1 million or $2 million or something like that. Who knows, maybe you want to target something that's under $1 million. Then the next thing you want to target is location. Maybe you just want to find projects within a certain state, obviously where you're based. You can then also filter the project list by open or awarded or closed projects. So for me, I like to filter them by awarded because that means that people have actually already started working on that project. Now, when we come in for the specific service that we provide, it's almost at handover stage for all of those services. So I want to find projects that are near completion rather than just starting. You also only want to have projects on your watch list that meet your criteria in terms of the keywords that you're looking for. So for example, I don't want to have any projects on my watch list that do not have the keywords relating to seismic restraint or the specific standard that enforces that in Australia. I'm just gonna have to pause for a second because this sun is literally blinding me. 1 second. All right, I'm back. All right, where was I? Oh yeah, the outreach to the actual builders. All right, the first thing that I do is I draft an email to whoever the contact is as part of that building company. It's usually the estimator. So what I'll do is I'll take a screenshot of the keyword section of the project itself and just highlight the specific keywords that relate to our services. Then I basically just copy and paste that screenshot into an email and say, reach out and introduce myself. My name is Felix from Gripple. We've noticed that there's seismic restraint services required on this project as per screenshot below. Can you please forward me the project manager of this project, or alternatively just send me the details of the contractors on this, such as electrical, mechanical, plumbing and fire. Most of the time you won't get a response straight away. It's usually not that initial email that'll get you a response. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you get a response, they'll come back and they'll give you the details of them. Sometimes they just give you the details of the project manager and then you can contact the project manager and ask them. But honestly, for me, it's the follow-up that actually gets me the details. So after about a week or so after I've reached out to them, I'll just forward that email just so they know it wasn't just some AI generated email, it's an automatic email. I'll forward by, mention their name and say, hey John, just following up on the below, I haven't heard from you in regards to the contractor details. Now this just flags to them like, oh, this is actually something I have to action. They mention, a specific requirement in the document. I don't want to have anything to do with this. Then they just give you the project manager's details, or they give you the contractor details because they basically just don't want to deal with you. Engaging with the contractors. Once you have the details of the contractors, you can basically forward that email trail directly to them. So that way you can actually show them like, look, the actual builder on this job has given me your details. So that obviously kind of flags with them, well, if the builder's giving them, my details, then these are actually somebody I actually need to talk to. So once I mention that, I just explain to them, what the standard is, what we do, and I sort of explain the process, from quoting to delivery of the service. And then I just ask them for their specific plan details. Once I have their service plans, basically I just send it off to our team of engineers. I get them to produce an estimate for me. They send it back to me. Then I'll organize a time with those contractors to go and actually present that proposal. Now, this is that chance to actually get in front of them, put a face to the name. You're not just an email anymore. You're not just some stranger. You're a real company. You're a real person at a company offering a real service that they need to engage. Now, by this point, if you're getting here and you're actually presenting a quote to them, it's unlikely they're going to go anywhere else if this is the first time they've heard of your service. Because you're the one that's taught them everything. You're already the subject matter expert. It's just going to make sense to engage you. In saying that, I always encourage them to get a quote from somebody else because, a lot of the time they have to anyway. Now, what I do after each day, so again, spend about 10 minutes doing this every day. I have the template email now. I have my list of projects. Once I've reached out to them, I'll just put all the information in a spreadsheet, which I keep track of. And then I follow up as required based on, once it's been 2 weeks and I've reached out to them initially and I haven't heard anything, then I'll follow up. Now, over time, after a lot of tweaking, I basically have about a 10% response rate now, which has led to quite a few conversions of large jobs. I've even put together a presentation within my company showing the process that I follow. Just a quick recap. Set up your watch list. You need to identify the projects that you want on your watch list. You can do this by filtering things such as budget, distance, and certain keywords in that project. Reach out to the builders. You start off by sending them an email, just a little bit about what you do, what you're looking at on the specific project. Take a screenshot and send it out to them. Follow up every 2 weeks. On the third time, follow up with a phone call, engaging the contractors. Once you have all the contractors' details, then it's all about how you engage with them. So for me, I start off by forwarding them the whole trail initially, where the builder has given me their details. Then I call them, sort of introduce, who we are, what we're about, what the sort of services that we provide, and then I ask them for their service plans, get an estimate from our engineers, and then go meet them in person to actually present that proposal. And lastly, measuring your success and optimizing. It's always a good idea to keep track of who you're reaching out to, which ones have been successful, which ones are not successful, and doing that bit of tweaking. Now, don't be discouraged initially if you're not getting too much back from these guys, because again, the tweaking matters, and also the following up. The following up is where you're going to get your responses. If you guys have any tips or tricks when it comes to tender platforms, mention them in the comments. I'd love to read them. Thanks, guys.